Mischief. Now the end of my story begins on a chilly Saturday afternoon between Thanksgiving and Christmas. A clear, sparkling day. After a good, hard snow, a gang of us, 2 of my brothers, 1 sister and I, quite a number of our first cousins, second cousins, and sundry cousins once removed, made a journey down to the pond for merriment and for testing the ice. Daring one another, we edged out, braving the creaking, thrilling with the danger as we defied the terrifying boom, the deep cracks moving far beneath us out toward the falls. Satisfied that the ice was not yet ready for sliding or skating, we huddled together on the bank, trying to start a fire with kindling we hauled out on a sled. Shivering, we waited while the big boys worked to strike a spark. At last, the damp logs caught, and we moved back from the smoke. "Bring over the seats," commanded Cousin Henry, and each of us found his own, a rock, a crate, a stump of wood. I found an old rusty tractor seat for my sister Susanna, while cousins Henry and Nate claimed the sled. As the afternoon shadows lengthened over the glazing surface of Abnag Pond, we sat there thus crudely enthroned in a ring around the smoky fire, snow melting into puddles at our feet. In a moment, Henry leaned forward, a look of mischief in his eyes. "She's here, you know," Henry whispered, sending shivers down my spine. Who, shuddered Susanna, who had begged to come out with the boys. "The ghost of Marguerite Lapointe." "Ah, go on," scoffed Cousin Nate. But now Henry stood, creeping back toward the edge of the pond, hunched over like a ghoul. "She's here, I tell you," he whispered. "Can't you hear her?" The cold wind was rising, lifting drifted snow, rustling bare branches in the grove of ghost-white birch. "Hear it!" cried Henry, gesturing toward the falls, "moaning and crying from the depths of her watery grave." At the fire, the little ones began to whimper. "Stop it, Henry," I said. But Henry was in full burn. "She's coming!" he cried. And he turned, dark eyes glowing upon us, with a scream that sent the little ones shrieking up the bank. "Coming for her revenge!" "Who's coming?" said a calm voice behind me, as a branch snapped sharp like a shot. Now all of us, even Henry, screamed as the source of the voice materialized in our smoky ring, flanked by fleeing howls left and right. At the fire only the bravest remained as the figure spoke again. "Marguerite Lapointe, who is she?" asked Gamaliel Stethington Meade. He stood not 2 feet from me, wreathed in smoke from the fire, ears red, white face puzzled under his city boy's soft cap, not budging an inch, as Cousin Henry moved up from the bank. "Who is she?" said Gamaliel again, as if unaware of Henry's rage. I knew that Henry would never forgive this stranger for stealing his show, for scaring him, and all this from a Meade. I knew I should stop him now before it was too late. But Henry was 14 years old and big for his age. I was 11 and small. Now Henry moved close to the intruder, motioning to his brother Nate and to Cousin Pete. As the 3 of them circled round Gamaliel, Henry began to weave a fantastic tale, the likes of which I had never heard before. "Okay, nosy face," Henry sneered. "You asked, and so we'll answer." "Yeah," said Nate, trying for menace. "Yeah," echoed Peter at his side. "She was a witch, if you want to know," said Henry, shoving a fist under Gamaliel's chin. "The witch who put the curse on all you Meads." Gamaliel looked to me for explanation, but I could only shrug, moving back closer to the fire, while Peter took the line. "You're cursed, you are, Gamaliel Stuffington Meade. So you better go back where you came from, wherever it was. You're cursed, gamey la mamie." Henry's wool-gloved hands curved up like claws. "Because old Nathaniel Meade murdered Ephraim Howe's girl not far from this very spot." The three of them circled him, one following another in the tale as if rehearsed. She was a witch, was Marguerite Lapointe, possessed of the devil. She could capture men's souls with a glance. Then in a heartbeat, the tale took a terrifying twist. And so is your mother, Gamey, a witch, possessed by the very same devil that took Marguerite Lapointe to the dark, slimy bottom of Abnack Pond on Christmas Eve, long, long ago. Gamaliel closed his eyes. Nate was seized with a hideous inspiration. Ask him where his father is, Pete. And there was more. Better still, thought Henry, not to be outdone, ask him who his father is. They laughed, terrible and mocking. Now Henry was the ghoul again, hunching up close, his clenched fist in Gamaliel's face. Maybe his father is the devil. Stop it, I shouted. Stop right now. Gamaliel opened his eyes and stood staring, working his fists, as Peter and Henry and Nate circled round him once more, teasing his chapped red cheeks. All of you will die, gamey lamey, every one of you meads who dares come back to Abnack Pond. Stop it, I cried, scrambling up the bank, tugging on Henry's coat. But Henry shrugged me off, shoving me back down the slope. Gamaliel, meanwhile, was moving fast, so fast I didn't see where he found the stone that struck Henry's head and spread a blood blotch on the snow. And just as fast, Gamaliel was gone. Cousin Henry told Aunt Caroline and Uncle Ned, as well as Doc McDougall, who sewed up the wound, that he had slipped and fallen on the ice, cutting his head on a twig. That way no one was suspicious. No one kept an eye out for retribution. So there was no mercy after that, no end to the taunting, the pranks. I watched helpless as my cousins grew braver, pitched dead birds and rotten apples in through broken windows at Meadside Farm, tossed frozen egg bombs onto the porches. They were careful. No one knew. No one stopped them. My father would have put an end to it if I had told, but I was afraid. At least a dozen of my older cousins, distant and near, were up to this mischief. And a traitor to his kin was the worst thing a boy could ever be. I did try to press for clarification one morning as we milked the cows. "Father," I asked, courageous, "why did Grandfather Ephraim love a witch?" "What?" My father knocked over the milking pail, which upset the cow, who upset all the others in the barn. By the time we got control of things, the breakfast bell was clanging. After that, I made my sister stay home and my little brothers too. They were scared anyway, and they didn't mind. But I went along on those dark night pranks, because I knew that I had to go. I always told Father that I was meeting Peter and Henry and Nate, and that much wasn't a lie. He asked what we were up to, but he never asked about the witch. I said we were drilling another fishing hole, or watching Henry tool his saddle, or examining the muskrats Nate had trapped. Those were the lies. The last time, I said Peter had found a nest of frozen baby owls which he wanted us to see. I almost didn't get away with that one. But somehow Father let me go, even overran Mother's objections. "You'll freeze your nose off one of these evenings, James," she warned me. "No need to fret, Abby," defended my father. "He's a country boy, and he's growing up." "There is plenty of time to grow up in daylight, William, even in the country." But for some reason, she let me go. I hurried with chores and got away just after dark to meet the boys at the bridge below the falls. By light of the moon, behind a shifting cover of clouds, we made our way around the pond and up to the mead side of the wall. Across the wide expanse of untrammeled snow, the huge dark house took no heed, no sound, no movement. No one at the window, no one opening a door, not even a single light. "Maybe they've gone away," I hoped. "Nah," scoffed Henry. "They're just hiding out in there." Henry motioned that we should follow out onto the vast expanse of white. Cautiously we approached, then grew bolder and bolder, tramping a path in the snow, 12 of us, making a circle, brazenly tramping a path around old Mead Mansion in the snow. And then Henry began the chant. Better run and hide your head. Margaret Lapointe's come back from the dead. Bother, bother, where's your father? Ask him and rum, you don't have one. Only a whisper at first. The chanting grew louder and louder, the others joining in as they learned, until anyone could have heard. I couldn't say the words, and I broke from the circle, catching up with Henry in the line. This is stupid, I whispered. We are going to get caught. Henry turned on me fierce. You got to decide, Jamie boy. Are you a real how or not? He gave me a shove that sent me sprawling. On my back in the snow, I looked up at the huge, dark house. It was then that I saw the light. First, just a flicker in the parlour window, as if a candle or lamp had been lit deep inside the house. I scrambled to my feet, catching up with Nate, to give a tug on his coat. Look, I whispered, but the light had gone out. I saw it next on the second floor, an eerie glow floating from room to room. But this time Peter saw it too. Shh, Peter whispered, silencing the chant. What's that up there? What are you talking about? Shrugged Henry, annoyed. Someone's watching us. Where? Nate checked over both shoulders. There, in the window. The light, however, had again disappeared, and disgusted, Henry gave Pete a punch on the shoulder. What's the matter with you ninnies? But no one any longer paid Henry any mind, for they all saw it now, the strange blue light floating through the rooms of the third floor. I told you we'd get caught, I cried. Your stupid prank has woke her up. No, whispered Nate, that's not Victoria. It's not even a person. Look how it floats. Shut up, Pete. But the confidence was draining from Henry's voice. The light was moving again, vanishing from the window to reappear in the attic, a blue figure taking shape in the glow. She's watching, whispered Peter. Let's get out of here. The terror was spreading through the group. You're all a bunch of lily-livered. But Henry's eyes were fixed on the house. I felt Nate shudder at my side. It isn't a person. No body glows like that. Cowards, Henry hissed. The wind whistled through the fields, rattling the loose shutters of the house, creaking the boards of the barn, letting loose the crows, banging open the big door of the carriage house, releasing the bats in a storm over our heads. It's a ghost, someone shouted. Marguerite Lapointe. And then we were stumbling over one another, screaming, running hard without looking back.